It is a cash management system. So it's a behavioral cash management system. So it's just not a system that you implement in your business that's going to help you, manage your cash. It's going to help you manage your behavior with your cash, because it's real easy as humans to fall into old habits, go the short route. So do what's easy, when things get hard. And then we're managing our cash in our business reactively versus being proactive about it. And that's no way to run a business. It's, that's going to get you nowhere real fast and create lots of stress in the process. It's based off of kind of the old envelope system, if anybody's familiar with that, to where you're intentional about dividing up your cash for certain uses. So we have, the old way of thinking, to where we believe in things that our parents teach us, or, our family has taught us, and we can default back to that really easily. So one of the old ways of thinking in business is sales minus expenses equals profit. And that's very challenging because, as you know, Steve, you ran your business like that, and you use everything that's there. So if you have, $20,000, $30,000 of revenue coming in a month, all of that money is going to be used, and probably plus some.
Yeah, it's always the money comes in, the sales minus the expenses, which if I'm not super strategic about it, expenses can expand. They can, we need things and we start buying stuff. And so the profit ends up being what is left over by chance and not by design. So there's not a lot of strategy in that profit. And so absolutely, it is, our businesses can be that cash eating monster.
Yeah, and in a lot of cases, when you run your business off of that methodology, you have no profit. You end up with a negative profit. And then what's left for you? There's nothing left for you, in the business. And it can even impact the business to where the business is not paying you as the owner. And you as the owner is the most important employee. You should be making a healthy living off of your business. Not using your business as an ATM machine, but making sure that you're taking home a nice, healthy paycheck that's going to support your lifestyle and your family.
We're talking about lifestyle congruency. So it's really about, what is the lifestyle that we want to live, and what's the income that supports that? Because being in business is really hard. And if you're going to go through that hardship of owning a business, you're taking the risk, you're putting your money online, you're working, right. Could be 7 days a week, 6 days a week, 10, 14 hours a day. For doing that, you need to make sure that you're getting paid properly, the correct amount, and you're taking it in the frequency that it should be. I've skipped paychecks. I've gone for months on times back in the old days thinking that I was doing the best thing for the business, but really I needed to raise my prices so I could pay myself. So it seemed like the best thing for the business was really detrimental for the business. It was detrimental for my lifestyle congruency, which meant my family. So making sure that I was getting paid on the right, time frame and the right amounts has really, stuck with me. And that lifestyle congruency is so important.
That's another thing I love about the Profit First system is it gives you the insight you need to make sure your business can support the way that you want to live. So that's another upside, of it. So the new way of thinking in utilizing Profit First is sales minus profit equals expenses. So you're intentionally taking your profit first.
Well, right. So now we're just upsetting the whole generally accountable, acceptable accounting principles on its head. And we're taking, what was accepted for, 100 years of sales minus expenses equals profit to sales minus profit equals expenses. And now we have to learn how to run our business on after we take the profit, what's the expenses? So tell me a little bit about like, what's the pushback on that?
Yeah. So it's, you're flipping your mindset. You're flipping the way, it's like running an engine backwards, right? So it's like we get so used to having cash in the bank in one account and using it all and what we need and what we need it for. And even when we don't have those funds, we're used to just maybe putting it on a credit card or a line of credit. And, it gets tighter and tighter. So with this concept, you're putting controls in place to make sure that the business is only spending an allotable amount. And this allotable amount is what a business should be, to be healthy. Like what's being spent, this is a healthy amount of spend. So you're not overspending and you're being intentional. So that's a hard switch for some people, when they've been running their business so long or even surviving in life, right? You have one bank account, you take everything you need out of it. When things get tight, you put it on a credit card. So this is a change of mindset. So it does take a little bit to get used to, but man, the reward when you can take your profit first, and then how much you have left over for expenses, that profit is yours as the business owner. You make the decisions on what can be done with it. And, so that's the upside and what I have found how easy it is for people to adopt it, because once they see that happen and they get that profit, it's a motivator to keep them going for taking their profit first.
Yeah, and they're taking that profit first every quarter, 3 months, and then you take your profit first distribution. So when I first heard of profit first, I was reading it and I was like, well, of course that makes sense. You should know how much profit you're going to take based on the percentage of revenue of the business. But it was kind of like, what? Like that was really the first time I heard it. Know your profit first. Take your profit first. But now that we've been doing it for so long, it makes perfect sense. Of course, you're going to know what the return you're going to get on an investment. Like if you're going to invest in, CD or bonds or stocks, you're looking for a return on that. You want to know what that return is up front. You wouldn't like just throw money somewhere and then wonder or hope you're going to figure out what the return is. So first it was kind of like, what? Of course you want to do that. But I didn't know how to implement it. And that's where Profit First came in, because it taught me how to implement it. And now it's been in our business for a while. So it's like, of course you would want to know what your profit's going to be. So after a while, it just makes perfect logic.
Yeah. Yeah. And and you've said it plenty of times. It's you say it's a simple system, but it isn't easy.
It's simple, but it is not easy. Yeah. So, the first time I read the book, I'm like, oh, I can do this. And, we tried, we kind of did it. We didn't do it correct. And I hired a Profit First professional who helped a little bit. And it got a little bit better, but it still wasn't implemented correctly. And then when we started working with you, we finally got it implemented correctly. And it is a simple concept, but it's not easy to do. Just like going to the gym and working out 4 days a week, it's a simple concept,
right?
But it's not easy to consistently keep that up for a long period of time. And, we'll find reasons and excuses and all kinds of things, but it's pretty simple. Just exercise 30 minutes, a day and do your 150 minutes exercise every week and you'll be in great shape. Simple, right? But it's not easy to do. And Profit First is kind of the same concept.
It can be a bit challenging. And I have found the reason that it's challenging is because you're changing behavior. So that can be challenging in itself. Just like you said, when you go to the gym, like you have to get in that mindset to be dedicated to the process.
And Profit First is kind of like going to the gym, because you don't go to the gym 2 times and you're in shape. It's a process. You have to keep going. It's a month, it's a quarter, it's a year, and then it's fully implemented. You don't lift for, 2 or 3 times and expect to be in shape and go to the gym. This isn't working.
Right.
Where's my 6-pack?
Right. Yeah. It's not going to happen overnight for sure. Yeah. So in Profit First, we have different accounts. So this system is set up to where you have different accounts where you're funneling your money into. So, and one of the favorite images that I've always had of Profit First is the Profit First pig. And it's this little piggy that has, it almost looks like, one of the little pigs that would be in a butcher place, and it's got the little dotted lines, like it's kind of cutting up the best parts of the pig. But on this image, it identifies the different accounts for Profit First. So there is, if you can imagine this little pig and these different divisions of this little pig, we've got the income account. So the income account is all the money goes into this income account. That's your total revenue. And right now, what people are probably doing in managing their business is not only does all the money go into that account, they're paying everything out of that account too. So it's this big, hodgepodge of expenses, automatic withdrawals, debit cards, everything going in there. But in Profit First, the income account is only used for your income. So you're seeing all the money that comes in, and that's the only thing that this account is used for. Then we have supporting accounts. So in the standard Profit First, system, you have your profit account, because profit comes first. And then we have owner's compensation, because that's extremely important. That's the next piece of it. So that's its own account. And then we have the tax account. So, because it's important that the business pays your taxes for you. So once you're done doing business for the year, you don't get hit with this $50,000 tax bill after you felt you had a great year. So you're not blindsided anymore.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, and that's usually a huge trauma point for business owners, to where, that tax bill comes in, and then what they had put in their savings all year gets wiped out plus some.
Yes.
And then we have your operating expense account. So that's the account that's used for all the operating expenses in the company that get paid out of that account. And for the Profit First for lawn care and landscape businesses, we have a materials account as well. So we would be intentional about allocating funds for materials, so you can use that account to pay your materials. So these are the main accounts that we have in the Profit First system for lawn care and landscape business. And we just added that one bonus account for the materials and subs, so you can be intentional about it.
Right. So when it comes time to pay your vendors, the money's there. It's a percentage of your total revenue, which your materials and subs are always going to be a percentage of your total revenue. So it's there. And it's one of my favorite accounts, because we don't ever have to wonder how we're going to pay for our materials and any of our vendors. So it's a big relief account.
There's 4 principles to this Profit First system. And the first principle is what we call small plates. And these small plates tie back to each of the account. So these plates are you taking your revenue, your total income, and then you're moving the amount that you need to your profit account. So that's your profit small plate. And then your owner's compensation. So that's your owner's compensation small plate, and your tax small plate, and your operating expense small plate. So you're using your income account, your revenue account, as a serving tray. And then you serve up the portions to these different accounts, these small plates.
So, the old way that we used to do it was everything went into one account, and then we would just we would pay out of it randomly, and we would have no idea kind of where we were going to be. And so it's kind of like the small plates is kind of like putting your wrenches in the wrench drawer, putting your screwdrivers in the screwdriver drawer, putting the sockets in the socket drawer, putting the hammers in the hammer drawer. So when it's time to use that tool, you know where it is.
Right.
Instead of throwing all your tools in one bucket or one just bin, and then randomly picking through, trying to find that 15th, 16th socket.
Yeah, and the money in your business, it is a tool. It's a tool to run your business. right? So you're making sure that you're putting the money where it goes, so it's there when you need it. And you know how much to put there. That's the other thing about the system. So the idea is to eat your veggies first in the profit first system, which is the concept of taking your profit first. Because when you take your profit first, just like when you eat your veggies first, you know that you're creating a healthy business. You know that you're making good decisions for yourself to be healthy, and you're taking and what's needed that's most important and being intentional about it, which in this situation, it's your profit. So even when you make your distribution from your revenue account, I instruct anybody that we work with, make sure you do the profit account first, because it's a mindset and it's rewarding. So there's a psychology behind it of making sure you take your profit first. It's the first transfer you make out the gate.
So you're going to take that profit first. Those are your veggies. That's what's good for you. And kind of what I was saying earlier about, if you I couldn't take my own paycheck. And what was happening was it was really telling me I was undercharging and not getting enough money for the work we were doing. So if you can't eat your veggies first, it's really telling you something is unhealthy.
Right. Exactly. And then the next method is you're removing temptation. So taking your profit out of your account, taking your tax out of your account. So you're removing the temptation to spend that money. So it's kind of like, when you go on a diet, you don't go buy the cookies. If they are in the cookie jar because you've got kiddos running around the house, you kind of push that cookie jar maybe to the back of the counter, as far back as possible. So you're making sure that you remove the temptation and you don't go grab that money out of your business when it's intentionally for something else, for your profit and your tax. So that's the being intentional about putting your funds out of reach. And in the profit first system, when you move your money to your profit account or your tax account, there's these two other accounts that you can have at a different bank to where you can then transfer it to your profit hold or your tax hold account. So it makes it more difficult for you to just grab that money if things get tight or if you're in a pinch.
Right. Yeah. And that's a temptation when things get a little tight, especially if you can do it electronically, you just make a few clicks and you move the money over. But if it's out of your hands and it's in a bank, especially the profit and the tax that you have to go to physically, it makes you be a little more innovative and creative. And maybe you don't buy something until you can afford it, or you don't spend money on something until you have the money to do that. Absolutely. Right. It's definitely helped me to look at a couple items and move those out another quarter for certain purchases.
Yeah, and then you have the money there when you need it. Like when that tax bill comes in, you can pay that.
And it's always there. And somehow we always make it through what we thought was what was tight. We make it through, and then we're fine. But relying on just grabbing money from that account is kind of a crutch. And we got over that pretty quickly and figured out how to do it. So definitely get it out of, it's the cookies. When people send me nice gluten-free cookies for gifts, I actually put them down cellar in the downstairs refrigerator, because you have to keep them refrigerated. That way, if I do want a cookie, I have to walk all the way down cellar, all the way across the end of the room and into the refrigerator. But if they were upstairs, they would be gone. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that temptation.
Definitely.
So the fourth principle is what we call the rhythm. So the rhythm is where you can get dialed into the rhythm of your business, which you could either do weekly or twice a month. So when you're making your allocations, all the money's coming into your revenue account, and then at some point you've got to disperse it based off of your business rhythm. Now, the standard top profit first way is on a twice a month rhythm, where it's the 10th and the 25th. So you're moving your money from your income account to your profit first accounts on the 10th. So everything's ready. to go for the 15th when bills are typically due, and then the 25th. So everything's ready again, to pay bills and other things on the last day of the month. We introduced in the Profit First for Lawn Care and Landscape Businesses book a weekly rhythm. And we did this because in this industry, and I know you do this in your business, Steve, you run payroll weekly. You have a weekly cash cycle in your business because it's very fast paced and it's just better for your business model. So I love the weekly rhythm because one, you are seeing the rhythm of your business on a weekly basis and you're touching the system a little bit more often, which makes it a habit faster. And the other reason I like it is because in working with businesses that are dealing with a cash crunch, like they're implementing Profit First, they have some major pain points in the business, a weekly rhythm gets them there a little bit faster. It's showing us where the pain points are happening, where we can maybe deal with some of the low-hanging fruit and improve the spend in the business, and how often the cash needs to be infused into these accounts to kind of see, well, what's the disruptor? What's causing the business not to be as profitable? Is it a price thing? Is it a cost thing with productivity? Like, where are the problems coming from? So I really like the weekly rhythm because it allows a business to get there faster when they're trying to get in front of the Profit First system. And when I say get in front of the Profit First system, I'm referring to their business getting to that healthy financial state that they haven't been in. And they're doing this by implementing the Profit First system. The whole business world changed, the world changed when COVID-19 hit. And one of the things that I saw in the clients that we worked with is when they did implement Profit First, they rode that wave and they got through the challenges without the additional stress that was happening. And it really changed the perspective on small businesses. And, I've been working with small businesses, my whole professional life. And we used to think small business, was, the backbone of the economy. And now we know small businesses are the economy, right? They are there. They're making the world go round. So this is why I really stress implementing Profit First in your business, even getting started with that 1% profit today is going to change the way you do business forever.
Yeah, just open up that one profit account. It's the easiest kind of one step. It's a good way to kind of get in the practice of the Profit First. Open up the Profit First account and then put 1% of your total revenue into that profit account. That's how we started. I started just 1%. We worked it up to 3%. Of our total revenue. And then we started opening some of the other accounts and implementing it a little bit more. But it's that first step. It's like going to the gym. You got to do that one time and, just practice. You're going to have to stretch and be a little sore after that first visit. But going that first step is like opening up your profit account and just putting that 1% of your revenue in and do that for 90 days. If you do that for one quarter, 90 days, and at the end of the 90 days, that profit is yours. And you and your family will get used to taking your quarterly profit distributions, and everybody will start looking forward to it. The biggest benefit so far for us now that we have it fully implemented is always knowing where the money is and what the money is for. And not only for myself, but also for my team. So my office manager, my bookkeeper, but even my managers know, okay, that money is not for us. That's for taxes. That's for materials. That's for payroll. So it really helps everybody in the company to understand when every dollar comes in, every dollar has a job. This amount is for payroll. This amount is for material. So it helps that. And also it helps to even out the year. So, we have a big push in the spring for marketing. So we used to have a big cash crunch in the spring because we had to pay for our marketing in the spring. but now we have an account for marketing. So that account is being funded all year round. So when that spring rush comes and we have to pay for the marketing we're doing in the spring, that account has been funded so we can pay that. And it kind of relieves. I have so many other things to do in my business. I have to do hiring, deal with customers, vendors, buy equipment, and deal with, other things, the state licensing. So we have all these systems in our business, and we didn't have a cash flow system. The most important thing in our business, that to manage the cash, we didn't have a system until we have Profit First. So it really allows me the time and space to focus on other things and not how to pay bills, when to pay bills. And it also lets me sleep at night because, owning a business and staying up at 2:30 in the morning, wondering how am I going to meet payroll this week? Because if money doesn't come in, I'm going to have to make calls. And, I've lost many sleepless nights really wondering and worrying about how am I going to make payroll? And that's all gone with Profit First.
So what I'm hearing you say is that it has allowed you to empower your team to understand a bit better how the cash works in the business and manage it so you don't have to, because the cash is going where it needs to go, when it needs to go there. And it's allowing you as a business owner to focus on what really matters instead of putting out small fires in your business or even big fires, depending on the cash demand. And you can do the things that you really excel at and that matters in making your business grow and move forward.
Yeah, and the growth is one of the things that's amazing with Profit First, because as my company grew, and it grew exponentially over the last 5 years, we have grown more than double in size. I didn't have to figure out how to do that because we had our Profit First style then, and the percentages just grew with us. So as the percentages, we maintained the percentages, so the money was always in the right place. So me trying to figure out the cash flow, we just dialed in our allocation percentages, and that took care of that. So the money was always there when we needed it. So, when I meet with banks and it's for financing, they look at what we do and they're just really impressed that we have so much clarity and control of our money. And which makes us gives us lower interest rates when we want to borrow money. If we don't want to borrow money, we can have an account and save up for something we want to buy. But it definitely creates that clarity. It's like I said with the toolbox. I don't throw all my tools in one bin. I want it separated. I want it clear. So it just makes it faster if we have to repair something. And, and that makes it quicker. So we get it in the shop. We get the right tools. Quick. Fix it, it goes back out and starts working and making money. And cash is the same way. If we have to figure out how to pay vendors, how to pay our employees, how to pay ourselves, instead of it comes in, we pay it, it goes out, we're back working, we're making money. That's just a whole different energy in a business.
So it's a system. It is a peace of mind. It empowers your team to own their roles to where you don't have to do things. And it has given you the right insight to grow your business without much effort because you have a dependable cash management system in place that's sounds like creating capacity in your business because there's not as many things to do, but also giving you that insight when it comes to expansion and budgeting and everything
absolutely
else.
Yeah, totally. It's been a game changer. It's really helped us grow. And, the other thing is I think, as a father and a husband, when I was worrying about cash, I was grumpy Steve. I was not the most pleasant to be around. And I know that my wife and kids enjoy when I'm happy and have energy. And that means cash in the business, not worrying about things. It's just having Profit First has taken that out of my kind of mindset, worrying about that. And so I can show up as me and be a better husband and a better dad. And it's definitely impacted my relationships.